Auto work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durgertime. Thank you once again for joining me for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2016 Billy Corgan's NWA. We are here week 4 into 2019, just about to reach the cusp of the new year and heading into hard times, baby. We had a pretty good show last time. Didn't do great, did 50, but it's not bad. We are not making money though. But you know, we are going to be burning money. We have capital. We have about $1 million in the bank, which isn't horrible. It's enough to kind of get working. And we do have some new people and new things going on. But I think we need a little bit of a boost. So what I'm thinking of is leading into hard times. I think we are going to perhaps call upon our alliance. As you remember, we have reformed a National Wrestling Alliance with several major wrestling companies to unite together. All Elite Wrestling, Impact, Major League Wrestling, Crash Lucha Libre, and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. So we have some options here, right? And we do have an alliance title. We have actually 2 alliance titles now. We have the Heritage title and the National Heavyweight. Both are currently being held by our champions. I wonder if anyone's going, if the alliance is going to give it to somebody. I don't really know. Because they did use it for Eddie Edwards. So I guess some companies will use it. I'd be curious to see if we get offers at some point. Because I kind of want to give it to our people, let them loan out to other areas, get some, popularity with us having to pay them, which is nice. But I want to call in a favor. And I think I have a good trade for it. And it's going to be a big deal, and it's going to make hard times a huge sell for us, potentially, and a huge win. I'm going to call a favor into AEW, dial in Tony Khan. I'm going to tell him that, hey, Tony, listen, I got some problems. I need a main eventer. I need somebody to really boost the ratings on hard times. Really big. Yeah, and it needs to be really big. Now, I was originally thinking Cody, because Hard Times, a debut of Cody at his something named after his his dad's promo would be cool. But I think we need an even bigger name. And Tony, what the problem you have right now is you have a really bad women's division. So what if I give you Sasha Banks and Thunder Rosa for a bit, in exchange for 6 appearances, just up to hard times? What if you gave me Chris Jericho? You would take it. Talk about an upgrade. For Sasha and Thunder gone for just a little bit, we could get Chris Jericho. That'd be a big deal, right? I mean, I don't think we could do that with anybody, right? Yeah, they're not going to take just anybody. But Sasha. How about Kimberly? Not interested in taking Kimberly. Only Thunder Rosa and only Sasha Banks. So that puts us in... How about Ashley Vox? No. They don't think it's strong enough. So they would take her, but not necessarily think it's a strong enough offer. So Sasha and Thunder Rosa for Chris Jericho for 6 appearances. And I would be expected to pay $5,000 per appearance. It's not horrendous. No extra cash payment. I don't think that's a bad deal. Now, that puts a hamper in our women's division title storyline. But honestly, it's underperforming so much that I've been doing less and less of it. Just because it's not, our roster's so weak there that it's not worth really pushing. So let's make the offer. Let's get Jericho on the NWA Power for 6 episodes and flex some of that alliance. And let's have him run a storyline, champion versus champion. Because at this point, I believe he is still the NWA champion. Or the, not the but the All Elite champion, I would imagine. He is. So champion versus champion. And that is a interesting proposition, I think. Worth it, I think. Let's go ahead and go with it and see where we could go. We do have Power in 6 days. There's no hiring we need to do. Let's just sim on over to it, and hopefully we can get Jericho on the next Power and really make an impact. What do we have going on here? Some news. Let's see what's going on. Eric Rowan signed an exclusive contract extension with WWE. We finished 3 out of 14 in the Great Lakes, 3 in the Midwest. That's great. That is hella good. We finished 3 out of pretty much everything. That is not bad at all. We have 1 month left on Trevor Murdoch's contract. We should probably sign him back up again. He seems like a strong hand. Allison Kay and Brody King have begun dating. So I think he signed already, so I can't get him again. Yeah, he already signed back up again. That's fine. Not a huge deal. All right. Anything in the news? Oh. Huh. Contract is up. Written contract for $1,300. I mean, I can't offer a written. I have like nothing I can offer him that would be worth it. Like I literally don't think I don't think I could even offer him enough, right? Yeah, so he's not going to join back. I mean, unless, yeah, I can't get him. It's fine. We're too small. We just weren't going to get it. Flip Gordon, though, was exclusive PPA and could be gotten. Probably not a bad idea. I'm not going to cover travel costs. Like, I'll see what is his bid here. 700 an appearance with a downside of 525, 3 years in length. Work all shows, no travel, no non-complete, and a signing bonus. I'm going to go a little bit higher on the signing bonus. Just give him cash on hand. I will say 1,000. 750, 600 downside, 300, and let's say future main eventer. And never lower than lower mid-carder. I don't know if he would take it. I'll throw it out there. The price is so low, and his potential so high. I think it's worth it. 1 or 2 offers if you're I'm not willing to really overbid. But he's a young lion. He's got some pretty decent popularity in the areas that we're around. Strong performance physically. It'd be a great get. We'll see. I'm not. If we don't get him, it's not a big deal. but it would not be a bad option to get in. Nothing else. Nobody else really going to affect us here. No. Future superstar. She's in developmental. Unfortunately, it means we can't get her. Yeah. Because our women's division is lacking, let's say. Unfortunately. But that's fine. We have Power tonight. We need to put Jericho on the roster officially. I'm going to guess a main eventer. Shocking. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Let us go on over to Power. Let's see what we're looking at here. 64 backstage rating. I think that's improved a little bit, probably from the relationship. We'll continue trying to meddle. Why not? All right. Where are we going to be? Probably same spot. Power Studio. All right. So, we got a show to book. We have a little bit of time before Hard Times. This is, I think we have 2 more powers. So actually, we probably overbid on Chris Jericho, because we really only need him for Hard Times. So I only need him for 3, but I could get him for 6. We might as well use it. We could use him after Hard Times. I think we're going to have him have a feud with the new heel champion, Nick Aldis. A champion versus champion, I think, seems interesting to me. It could be pretty good. I don't know. I've never seen them match up. It could be kind of interesting. So we got a plan. Let's execute. And obviously, I don't know if it said it on here. Who's not available? Oh, you know what? Because we're not on the same day, I think... Yeah, we still have Sasha. Wow, that's even better. For some reason, I thought they would leave the roster temporarily. So this works out great because not only do we get Chris Jericho, we don't lose our people. They just can use them on the days that they're filming. And since we're doing Tuesday and they're doing Wednesday, no big deal. Our event, I don't remember when our event is scheduled, but I think it's Saturday. But as long as there's no conflict, we might even be able to build our women's division feud too, because we were building Thunder Rosa versus Sasha Banks. So everything's working out great. Let's go ahead and book it real quick, and let's see what our results are. All right, guys, we are back. 65 minutes in the hole, straight through with 2 pre-shows. I think it's pretty good. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got for Power. We start off with a pretty good pre-show match. Cabana and Tim Storm versus Brody Lee and James Storm. So we're just kind of giving them some opportunity to wrestle. They're not on the main event or the main show, but give them some opportunity so they're still on there. Hello. Tim Storm and Colt Cabana show excellent chemistry. Interesting. Cabana has a 54 and Tim Storm has a 34. That's interesting. That might be a potential tag team. Now that Tim Storm's kind of a face on a redemption arc, maybe he and Cabana could have a friendship. Brody Lee, though, defeats James Storm defeat Colt Cabana and Tim Storm in 7 minutes when Brody Lee defeats Colt Cabana by pinfall. Brody Lee was head and shoulders above everybody else, and Tim Storm was the weak link. Not shocking, but that's fine. Overall, not a bad pre-show at all. It's almost a shame that we didn't put that on the actual show. That was a mistake. This is a good reason not to be on the pre-show, to be on the pre-show. It's pretty bad, but we want to give Ashley Vox a big win. She's a young lion. She's one of our futures, so we want to make sure that we are representing her properly. So we give her a win, pretty dominant one, too. She defeats Madison Eagles and Nicole Matthews in 5 minutes. Not bad. Madison actually carries the match. She is very talented. I think we were sleeping on her. 50 versus 28 and 38. Something to look at. We have a potential contender here, I suppose. But we do give Ashley some momentum. We start the show very hot, though. To the surprise of fans, at the start of the show, Chris Jericho's Fozzy music blasts, and he arrives in NWA Power studio. He's holding the AEW championship, and he goes right over to get interviewed by Marquez. Jericho says he isn't here to be a liaison for All Elite Wrestling and their new partnership with the National Wrestling Alliance. He says he's here because he has a personal agenda, as he always does, and he will reveal it when the time is right. Jericho, we gave him unscripted, and he did a great job improvising and kind of playing to the crowd. Got the crowd hotter, kicked off the show immensely well. What else would you expect, right? I almost wish Marquez developed some skill from Jericho, but oh well. Afterwards, Nick Aldis shows up, and he gets interviewed by Marquez as well. And Marquez asks him if he's concerned tonight about Jericho's new debut in NWA. Aldis says that he's not concerned in the slightest, because while Jericho may be the AEW champion, the only true World's Heavyweight Championship is currently and always will be the 10 pounds of gold. Nick Aldis then proceeds to sit down in the audience, not having any matches tonight, but merely observing, probably carefully scouting Chris Jericho. We have, this is okay, Von Erichs versus Royce Isaacs and Ricky Starks. It's subpar wrestling, a little heat. Von Erichs defeat Royce Isaacs and Ricky Starks in 4 minutes. Marshall takes the win, gets a submission, trying to give them a more time on the show, bigger boost, trying to, as much as we can, give them wins. They are our Alliance Tag Team Champions, but we want to kind of give them something. It's not a great rating, though. This does better, though. Josephus has a match coming up, and he is joined with his entirety of his cult, including the newly converted Thomas Latimer, who we're probably going to rename Bram, because I keep on mispronouncing Latimer, whatever. So he brings out his book once again and starts reading from a passage. He has, his opponent is the trucker, who probably will be leaving us soon, whose name Trevor Murdoch, and he starts reading a passage very similar to Trevor Murdoch. He says, "Beware those who live an unwashed life. Those whose collars are blue and their necks red believe themselves to be the salt of the earth, but instead they are instilling lies about their place in life. There is no country or wisdom. There is only enlightenment from me, and through communication with the Lord of Light. All those who try to instill prophecies must be vanquished." Josephus again continuing to call out people, seemingly believing that they are not worthy of his saving. Josephus was underwhelming, unfortunately, but overall, it's okay. And the match is fine for what it is. They're both about evenly matched, to be honest. It's subpar wrestling, but it had a little heat. Josephus defeats Trevor Murdoch in 6 minutes by pinfall. Connor did a run-in and attacked Murdoch to weaken him. Josephus and Trevor Murdoch actually had great chemistry together, which is kind of interesting. Perhaps Trevor will become maybe not a tag team, but maybe we will revisit this feud again But for now, Trevor takes the L, and the Colt continues to kind of control the mid card. In a better semi-main event than what we were seeing before, we have Pillman and Colin Cassidy fighting Eli Drake and Caleb Conley. It's a pretty decent match. Pillman actually defeats Eli Drake and Caleb after Pillman pins Caleb with after a tornado DDT. Caleb was the weak link, struggling to keep up, which is not shocking. No in-ring performances being improved, but we have Cassidy at a 44, Pillman at a 54, Drake at a 56, and Connolly at a 33. We're still pushing Pillman hard. Our goal is ultimately to get him to the main event, and I think maybe getting him into a story with Drake. I probably actually should build a story. We're probably going to get penalized for this because there's really no story being built from this, but we might have a feud going between Drake and Pillman. Match is pretty good, and this rating is pretty good. Pillman and Drake square off after the match. Pillman eyes Drake's National Alliance belt and points at it, kind of indicating he wants a shot. We have Jericho making an elaborate entrance for the main event to the chanting of the Fozzy song and a sing-along. Does pretty well. And in the main event also does pretty well. Chris Jericho versus Aaron Stevens, and Chris Jericho, despite having a pretty long match, ends up hitting the Judas effect and winning. Has a 70 versus a 51, and leaves us with a rating of 63 and a rating of a show of 64, which is higher than we've ever had. But we are kind of cheating a little bit by grabbing that alliance items, but increases our popularity in 18 regions. I think this was, we didn't have everybody on the show, but I think we utilized what we did have very well. I'm very happy with this episode of Power leading up to the go home show next week of Hard Times. All right, let's see what we got. Tiger Mask is retiring. So it was Super Parka. And Goto got hurt. Anything else going on here? What's our Power report? Show was awesome. That's great. We want that. We really want that momentum. Our contract extension. Who are you? Lacey Lane. Caden Carter. 290. Nah. I am trying to scout that talent to see. Walter got re-signed. That makes sense. Anybody that we could... No, nobody that really... that we could really grab. Unfortunately. That would be worth grabbing at least. But a great show. I mean, 64, I think it's the highest rated show that we've ever done. Gordon's being bidded over. 4-year 840 is being seriously considered. Our offer is no longer being seriously considered. Well, also, I don't mind going there. You know what? Let's go 9. Yeah, let's go there. I don't know how much higher I'm willing to go. I probably would be willing to have Flip at 1,000 because eventually he will be useful, and he probably will be a good. Oh, that costs a lot of money. Oh boy, that's an expensive month. Expensive show too. Look at that. Just worker expenditures, it's 28. Production 14. We're only getting 15 in ticket sales. Boy, what's our schedule looking like here? Hard Times is Sunday. But what's our broadcasting? forget what we have set up. We have red now, I think, right? So yeah, so very high patience, which is good. We do need more pay-per-views than what we were doing, as we had talked about before. But this is, I believe, a subscription, so we will get some revenue from it, which is good, which will be helpful. Because like I said, we have money to spare, but we do want to turn that around eventually, and we're going to have to sooner than later, because it's eventually going to be a problem. Our progress, though, slowly crawling up in all regards, just a little bit here and there. Southeast, obviously, is our main area of importance, and we are progressing slowly. And I think this feud right now is going to be very good for us, building up a Chris Jericho story. It's a pretty obvious story. You can see where it's going to go, but we have a couple shows with him. I think they're going to be pretty significant. It's going to be expensive, but I think it's going to be worth it just in terms of pushing the rating. For our ranking, we're back down at 12 for, is that national or regional? Oh, it's financial muscle. So we're third in regional bout. Like that's a pretty big jump. Like that ain't bad at all. We're moving ahead of pretty much everybody. We were talking about that last episode about kind of not necessarily getting up there yet. And we're already in a comfortable third. Can we knock NXT? Well, that's tough. That's real tough. They got that financial muscle. They are regional like us. That's tough. Maybe if we could scout some people out. Ring of Honor also going to be difficult to take out. We have a good cash flow. NXT's cash flow is not as good, actually, right now. They have a stronger main event scene in Ring of Honor, I feel like, than we have, unfortunately. We can take a look at that real quick. I feel like Bandito, Jay Lethal. I mean, Jay Lethal is a national treasure. We probably could use something. We might have to scout for another main event scene, though I think we do have a pretty decent main event scene. I think we just need to grow it. Because what we have, Aaron Stevens is fine. Brody Lee, I think, is probably going to be a big future star for us. Chris Jericho doesn't count. Colin Cassidy's there. Eli Drake is not bad. You know, actually, our main event scene doesn't look horrendous. Tim Storm's the weakest link there, in terms of performance, but we can move him down the card. And Steiner. You know, it's what it is. We do have some morale issues. That's fine. We can deal with them later. Not really that much of an issue. But I think overall pretty good. Liking where we're moving. I'm happy where we were with the rankings. And I think the Chris Jericho feud coming up is going to be a big deal for us. It's probably going to give us a lot of momentum. Finally using those alliances for us, which I think is going to be very helpful. Thank you guys for joining me. That is it for today. I'll see you next time.